Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am showing you my absolute favorite luxury beauty products. So these are my #1 luxury beauty products in each category. I usually film this every year towards the end of the year when I do my best of 2024, which was last year, but I totally forgot to do it. So I am going to be filming that today, and this will include all the new releases. So some of them I did mention 2 products just because I found it quite hard to narrow down. But I wanted to be very picky and very specific in this product so you can see what I really feel is the luxury makeup that is worth it, that is worth the purchase. So let's just get started with the complexion. I am not a huge primer person, I'm going to be honest. If I am going to use a primer, a lot of the time it's just going to be for a special occasion. And the primer I mostly reach for is this Sisley. This is the Blur Expert Powder. And I know it seems weird to use a powder as a primer, but this is a beautiful primer. If you really want that pore perfected blurring look to your skin, this is the primer product that I would recommend, and I truly do feel it's worth the money. I have gone completely through one of these already, and I just love to utilize this for special occasions. I don't use it on an everyday basis, but I do use this on special occasions, and I find the best way to apply it is taking like a dense brush, and then you just dip your brush into this powder. And then I find the best way to apply it is stippling it onto the skin like this. So I would just apply it to the pore areas. So definitely this area right here on the cheeks, and then the middle of the chin, middle of the forehead. If you get oily around the nose, you could apply it to the nose as well. This is almost like a waxy powder. It is very, very hard pressed onto the skin or onto the pan. Very, very hard pressed. So you don't get powder kick up when you dip your brush into this powder. And definitely I would not use this over top of your makeup. It doesn't seem to perform the best. There's just other powders I would recommend over this one, but this is truly very, very beautiful for a primer. And then another primer I just want to mention because it is something I use quite often, and it is the Chantecaille Sheer Glow Rose Face Tint. I really love to use this product. I'm actually going to have to open up my backup of this. I love to use this product specifically on the under eye region. That's like my favorite place to use it. And just because it has a little bit of a pink tint to it, it has an ever so soft sheen. It is the softest sheen, honestly, in my entire collection. It doesn't offer any shimmer particles or anything like that. And the Sheer Glow Rose Face Tint, you probably can't even see because now there's nothing left in this, but there is an ever so slight rose tint to this. So what I find, it does a great job of brightening up on my complexion. It brightens the skin, it slightly color corrects, and offers just a little bit of luminosity. It's like a more subtle version of like the Hollywood Flawless Filter from Charlotte Tilbury, like a very, very subtle version of it. It's the most natural version, I want to say. But that's a beautiful priming product, and that's usually what I use as a primer, either one of those 2 options, depending on the occasion I'm getting ready for. And then in terms of foundation, this one was a little bit more challenging because I've been really loving some certain foundations in my collection. But if I have to mention my absolute favorite foundation, it has to be the Chanel Sublimage L'Essentiel de Teint. This is just a go-to favorite. I use it over and over again. I absolutely love this product. I wear the shade B30 is actually my match, but I only have the shade B40 right now because I ran out of my B30. So I'm just going to go in with this. I'm just going to take a pump of this foundation. And I like to just apply it, as always, to the palm of my hand. Don't apply it to the back of your hand where you have pores, because your foundation will just get absorbed into the pores and you're just going to waste a lot of product. I like to get it evenly distributed onto this brush so that my brush has an even amount of pigment distributed into the bristles. It is really kind of packed into these bristles. That way you're going to get the most seamless, smooth application onto your complexion. And it's not going to be too, like sometimes if you just apply product to your face initially, you're going to have too much product sitting in one area and you're not going to be able to blend it seamlessly and in an even thin layer onto your skin. So just applying it this way just ensures I get a really thin, even layer all over my complexion. And I'm applying it with a Rephr. This is a B04, but I believe the new name is LC03. And then just when I want more product, I go in with that same method. But this foundation is truly beautiful on the skin. I really like it because I would say it is a sheer buildable to a medium coverage. You actually can get quite a good amount of coverage out of this foundation. This foundation is a little bit more pricey for a Chanel foundation because it is actually a skincare slash makeup hybrid. So there is a lot of Chanel skincare in this foundation. But what I really like about this foundation is that it is so versatile because I can get a medium coverage, but I can also really sheer it out on the skin for an everyday basis when I want a really light coverage. That tends to be what I want on an everyday basis, is something with a lighter coverage. So I can really sheer it out on the skin and apply just like half a pump all over my skin. And I can still see freckles peeking through on my skin. I can still see little spots showing through. I can still see natural skin texture. So I really like this foundation as well because it has a great longevity to it. Even though this is more, on me, I would say it has a more natural finish, but I know for a lot of skin types it leans more on the satin side. I am so impressed by the longevity every time I wear this, because you would think for something that's more on the natural side or satin, it would maybe get dewier throughout the day or maybe leave you looking a little bit oily. But this holds up so beautifully on my complexion every single time that I wear it. It truly has the best longevity on my skin. It just stays put all day. This is also my mom's favorite foundation, and my mom is 66. But this is my mom's favorite foundation. She really loves this as well. And again, for her, she uses this as her everyday foundation, but also as a special occasion foundation because it just makes your skin look special. To me, it is worth the price because it makes my skin look so elegant and so special, and it just elevates it compared to just typical foundations. I love the way it looks, and you guys know how I love a blurring foundation. This is blurring on your skin. Your skin looks like it has a soft focus filter on it. Your skin just looks so natural. It looks like your skin, but better. Just an elevated version of your complexion. And again, it gives that really beautiful, soft focus filtered effect that I just love on my complexion. So definitely, this is a foundation I recommend. I did just want to quickly, and again, I know this is cheating, throw out that I really do love this Dior stick foundation. The fragrance is a little bit more strong in this Dior foundation than the Chanel. The Chanel feels like this is naturally fragrance with skincare versus the Dior smells like it is fragrance with perfume. But the Dior gives me the same vibe of the Chanel Sublimage L'Essence de Teint. The Dior is just a lot less pricey on the skin, and I really like this because, again, you can get a lot of versatile wear out of this. This is, I would say, like a strong medium coverage, even buildable to like a fuller coverage. But again, you can really sheer it on the skin, and you can get something very sheer. You could just go in and dip your brush in, like just go in with one swipe. You're going to get a sheer amount of coverage because you can really thin it out on the skin so it doesn't look heavy at all. I find that the best way to wear this is either really shearing it out on the complexion so that it looks undetectable, or medium. I wouldn't really build it past the medium because then I feel like it can look a little bit heavy. But I really, really love this foundation as well. I'm going to kind of keep this to a top 3. And then I wanted to throw out this Chantecaille Future Skin Cushion Foundation because I think this would be great for a lot of people as well. And again, this is one of my most versatile foundations because it's, I would say it starts off at like a medium coverage, but buildable to a fuller. Very, very similar in coverage to the Dior Stick Foundation. However, this is the most natural finish foundation in my top favorite foundations because the Chanel Sublimage is more of that natural slash satin finish, depending what you prep your skin with. The Dior foundation is more of a dewy slash satin finish, again, depending what you prep your skin with, where this is a true natural skin-like finish. This truly looks like your skin, but again, you can build it up to a medium fuller coverage, but you can, again, really sheer it out on the skin if you just go in with a tiny, tiny bit of product, really thin it out on the complexion to really stretch out that foundation, and you can get that sheer slash light coverage, and it is so beautiful on the complexion. All of these foundations are blurring on the skin. All of these last all day long, and I don't need to touch them up. So those are like my top 3, and I feel like with foundation, it's nice to have more options, so I did want to mention a little bit more than I would in other categories. So moving on to concealer, and this will not be a surprise if you are not new to my channel, but this is the Surratt Dewdrop Concealer. I have it in 2 shades. I have the shade number 5 and number 4. Truly, the best match for me is mixing these together, but if I had to just pick one, number 4 would be better because it's a little bit more brightening, where number 5 is virtually my exact skin tone, maybe even like a tiny, tiny bit darker. So if I had to pick one, it would be number 4. And I love everything about this concealer except the packaging, but this is a truly beautiful concealer. I either apply it in 2 ways. You can apply it kind of like I did the foundation where I apply it to the palm of my hand, or I'll just go in and apply just a tiny, tiny bit right under my eyes in that concentrated area, just where I'm deep and dark, because this does have a decent amount of coverage to it. And the brush I've been really enjoying using for this concealer is the BK Beauty number N16. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit of that I applied to my hand. I really like this brush because it really shears out this concealer and it applies it in a lighter way, because this Surratt concealer, I would say it's a medium coverage concealer, buildable up to not quite full coverage, but definitely like a high medium coverage. And I love this concealer because of how it performs. When you apply it onto the under eyes, it just blends so seamlessly into your under eyes. My struggle with my under eyes is that it's probably the driest area on my skin, but I never have any issues with this looking too dry on my complexion. It never looks heavy. It never looks cakey throughout the day. It never looks too dry. Sometimes with concealers, they can end up looking really dry on my under eyes throughout the day, but I never have that issue with this concealer. It always performs so top notch. This is just such a high quality concealer, truly. And the beautiful thing about this is that it remains consistent throughout the entire day. I apply it on the under eyes, and every time I check on my makeup, my under eyes still look so flawless and beautiful. It's not creasing anymore. It doesn't settle into creases. It doesn't settle into fine lines. Again, this is a concealer that I recommended to my mom, and my mom really loves this concealer. Even for her mature under eyes, she doesn't find that it dries out her under eyes or anything like that. I can mention my mom's other favorite concealers in the luxury makeup worth the money, just because obviously with mature skin, I know a lot of you like to know my mom's favorites. But this is just how it holds up all day long. It's truly beautiful. And this is also, like, I like to use the shade number 5, similar to how I use the Givenchy Prism Libre Skin Carrying Concealer. I can use it all over the complexion, and it has a very natural skin-like finish. It doesn't lean too radiant. There are no light reflecting particles. I feel like a lot of concealers on the market these days reflect light, but this doesn't have any of those light refracting properties. It just looks like your skin texture because it has that perfect natural finish. You don't need to set this down with powder because it does set down itself. And it has, like I said, those blurring qualities that I love in a product. This blurs your under eye region and just makes everything look smooth and beautiful. I can't say enough good things about this concealer. I wanted to mention my absolute favorite cream products in each category. I'm not going to use everything on my complexion because I want to go for a light complexion today. So I just don't want to do too much on my skin. But my favorite, or maybe I just will to show you because I feel like people get frustrated when I don't show every step. So this is the Chantecaille Sheer Glow Bronze Face Tint. This is my favorite liquid/cream bronzer. This is actually more of a gel-based bronzer. But what I love about this is it is multi-purpose. So I'm just going to take a little bit of product because you just need a little bit of product. And I like to use something like this BK Beauty 111 brush, something fluffier, just to really get that product sheared out onto the skin. So I like to start on the forehead, and then I will bring it to the cheeks. So what I really like about this is, again, it's very versatile. It is very multi-purpose. You can tell this is quite a warm bronzer, and I do wish Chantecaille would branch out the shade range and release it in lighter shades and deeper shades, because right now I feel like this works for, you could get it to work for lighter skin tones, obviously, and then up to a medium tan skin. But past that, obviously, this is going to be too light for deeper complexions. So I really wish they would create more shades, because this is one of my favorite products to use, as you can see, as I'm using right now, just as like a cream bronzer. You can apply it over your makeup, and this is so sheer on the skin compared to a lot of cream bronzers on the market, which are more opaque, and they go on a little bit more pigmented. This just has such a sheer pigmentation, so it's not going to look too heavy on your skin. It's going to look very skin-like as a bronzer. This also is the most blurring filtered bronzer I have ever used. Again, it gives that really soft focus, beautiful look. It is so effortless on the skin. If you want the most undetectable bronzer on your skin, you're going to want to check this out, because it truly just looks like your skin is just glowing, is just naturally more bronze, just because of how thin it is on the skin. And again, if you apply this all over the skin, because this is multi-purpose, you can almost use this as a sheer coverage foundation, as a face tint on the skin. Again, this is called the bronze face tint, so you can actually use it as your foundation. I love to do that when I go to the gym in the morning, or if I'm running errands, I'll just apply this all over the skin. And it truly makes your skin look more perfected, more beautiful. It slightly reduces the redness in your skin, and it does give a bit more of a perfected look without it adding coverage, but it just gives your skin that soft focus look. I tell you, it is so blurring. And then also you can use it if your foundations are too light on your skin. Just mix in a little bit of this product and you have a foundation that is a little bit deeper and it's going to match you. So you don't have to buy your summer foundation and your winter foundation. You can just mix a little bit of this in and alter the finish or alter the shade of your foundation just ever so slightly. I love this. I can't say enough good things. And if we're talking about my favorite cream blush, this is funny because I actually used to not like this, but it has just grown on me so much and I really, really love this formula now. And this is the Westman Atelier. This is the Baby Cheeks Blush Stick, and my favorite shade is the shade Mimi. It's a very beautiful neutral nude shade. I know Petal is very popular. That's more of like a dusty rose, kind of just a classic pink shade, where this is more of a pink peach beige. It's like the perfect in-between of all those shades. So if you're looking for a really beautiful neutral nude blush, highly suggest Mimi. I do think it's only available on the Westman Atelier site though, but truly lovely. I, again, like to start out on the palm of my hand and then distribute product from there to my cheeks. So I'm going to take a BK Beauty N15 brush to apply that product to my skin. And this is just a really beautiful formula because I really like this because I feel like it has the perfect finish. It is a cream blush that is actually long lasting on the skin. It has a really beautiful finish where it finishes to a very skin-like finish. Sometimes cream blushes can just look so dewy on the complexion that they almost don't make it look like real skin because they have such a dewy finish, where this just has such a beautiful natural finish on the complexion. It's so gorgeous, and I feel like this will work for different skin types. It's going to work for dry skin because it does have a little bit of emollients to it. It has that little bit of slip so that it will make it easy to apply and it won't pick up on dry patches. But if you have oily skin, it also has enough of that, I guess it's like, it's interesting for a creamy product because it's not too dewy looking. It has enough of that dry down so that it won't look too dewy on your skin, and it's not going to like fade away after 3 hours on your skin. This just gives a beautiful, very natural flush of color. This is very subtle on my cheeks, so you can probably barely see it. It's just a very pretty, beauty-enhancing product. It just makes your skin look more beautiful, more perfected. It is so gorgeous. If you're looking for a really natural-looking blush on your complexion, I highly recommend this. The packaging is really luxurious as well. Just the whole experience when it comes to the Westman Atelier products is really nice because she always has this luxurious packaging. It feels very heavy and weighty. But it's just a truly beautiful blush that I recommend because, again, it's going to work for so many different people, oily skin or dry skin, and mature skin as well, and I just love that. So at this point, I'm going to apply just a little bit of powder, and I'm going to go in with my Cle De Peau Refining Pressed Powder because if I could only choose one pressed powder, it would definitely be this one. So I'm going to just dip into this, and I like to just focus it. I like to do precise powdering. I am not powdering all over my complexion because I don't need to powder all over my complexion. And I find that it looks more natural if you just apply your powder in specific areas. So I like to just apply it right here beside my cheeks. I'll do a little bit on the sides of the nose, middle of the forehead, middle of the chin. And I can do this powder under the eyes as well. So I'll just apply a little bit there. Like I said, you don't need to set that concealer, but I just like to as a little bit of an insurance policy just in case. Unless you're really, really oily, you don't need to powder all over your skin. I like to just specify in certain areas. Sometimes I'll apply it along the jawline. But this is truly the best powder on the market. I love this. If I could only choose one powder, it would be this one. And what I like about it is that it's virtually an undetectable powder. It is very sheer on the skin, so all it's going to do is alter the finish of my foundation. It's just going to give me that more matte appearance in those certain areas. It's going to take away the shininess. It's going to, the best name for this is the Refining Pressed Powder because it truly refines the look of your skin. This is the most pore blurring powder. It will instantly get rid of any pores or texture on your skin. It is so beautiful in that way. Truly an instant Instagram filter on your skin. And I like it because it's not going to alter the finish of your foundation. It's not going to change the color. and it's not going to add coverage because it's obviously a translucent powder. So I like that because I really like how my foundation looks currently. So I don't want to alter, I don't want to add any more coverage, and I also don't want to alter the color of it. So this is just perfect for that use because it's not going to alter anything. Yes, this is a high price point powder, but it is truly worth the money. And this is refillable. So you can just buy the powder, like you can just keep the case and keep buying the powder refills. Can't say enough good things about this. And this also will not be surprising if you are not new to my channel. My absolute favorite bronzer is the Hermes Healthy Glow Mineral Powder in the shade 02 Atlas. This is just my perfect bronzer, and I can't say enough good things. So this is the Refer 22 brush. I like to just pick it up on this brush, tap off the excess, and apply it to my skin. So if you can tell, I could honestly, I'll duck down a little bit, I can honestly do the shade deeper. I think it's called Sahara, and I've been really thinking about picking it up just if I want a deeper bronzer look. But you can see this is virtually like half a shade, maybe even a shade deeper than my chest. So this is not going to add a lot of contrast as a bronzer. This is going to be more of a enhancer, almost like the Makeup by Mario Skin Enhancer. This is just going to enhance my complexion, add a really beautiful, healthy glow. It's almost a mix between a powder and a bronzer. It's like the best of both worlds because this is going to add just a little bit of that contrast, but it's not going to be a high contrast bronzer where it's going to look so evident on my skin that it almost looks fake. This is just going to give me that natural glow that is going to look very natural on the skin. So again, it's going to be beauty enhancing. It's going to be skin enhancing. It's going to look like your skin but better versus it being an obvious bronzer on the complexion. And I really like that, but that might not be your vibe. So you might want to pick up the deeper shade. Again, I think it's 03. I want to pick up the deeper shade, and I also want to pick up the lighter shade because a few of you guys let me know that you picked up the lighter shade and you use it as an actual powder because you love this product so much. I know this powder is so pricey, and I would never recommend a product if I didn't feel like it was actually worth the money. But this is truly worth the money because you can get so much use out of it. It is such a big pan of product. I love the finish. I love the formula of this. The formula is so great. It's very buttery. It's very smooth. It's very velvety. It's very buildable on the skin. It can go on really sheerly, but you can build it up on the skin. And it has this beautiful finish where it's not quite matte because there are some shades in here. Like there are different shades that make up this embossing. And so some of the shades have a little bit of a shimmer, but it's not a sparkly shimmer. You cannot detect shimmer particles sitting on the skin because I do not enjoy that personally. And it's just so beautiful. It blends so smooth. And again, it just gives my skin that healthy glow without it being obvious that I have a detectable bronzer on my skin. So I'd love to pick this up in more shades. And I think it's worth it because I would rather have one good bronzer that I can use all the time, that I want to use all the time, that looks just so beautiful on my skin versus having like 3 mediocre bronzers. That's just how I would rather spend my money. I am more of a quality over quantity person, but for you that might be different. But truly, just the best bronzer. And you can see I usually wouldn't layer it up that much on my skin, but even though I have gone in with quite a few layers, it still looks so skin-like and so natural on the skin, and I truly can't stop singing the praises of this bronzer, and it's for good reason. It's phenomenal. Now, blush is another category where I couldn't really narrow it down to just one blush because blush is my foundation and blush are like my favorite categories in my collection. So I wanted to just name a few. These Valentino blushes, phenomenal. I love them because they're more of that cream to powder formula, so they look really skin-like on your complexion. They truly don't look like a powder product. If you want that really seamless blend, again, that's really beauty enhancing that just melts into your cheeks without it looking like a powder product, these Valentino blushes are phenomenal. Another kind of hybrid blush, I guess I'm really into this hybrid blush. These are, again, very similar to the Valentino. This is just a little bit more emollient. It feels more like a putty, similar to any like Westman Atelier iPods if you've ever tried those. It feels like a putty. This is the Chanel cream to powder blush in the shade Rose Ardent. I really, really love this again because it looks so skin-like on your complexion. It's just going to melt right in. Another formula, I don't even know if you classify this as really luxury, but this is the NARS blush in the shade Behave. I just can't get enough of this, and I normally don't like a matte blush, but this is a matte without it being drying. It's a very nice pigmentation because I would say it's sheer buildable to a more pigmented look. You can definitely build it on the skin. But it just looks so healthy. It looks so beautiful. there is something blurring about this powder when it goes onto the skin as well. And I like that you get a nice abundant pan, you get a good amount of product. They did reformulate this, and I think the reformulation without talc is beautiful. I really, really, really like this. It is really beautiful. So I think today I am going to use, and I'm really sad because you can't actually get these Valentino blushes in Canada anymore, so that's quite upsetting. But I feel like it's been a while since I've used the Valentino, so I'm going to go in with that today. And I'm going to go in with a Rephr 05 brush, so I like to, again, dip in, and then I will just get that excess off on the back of my hand, and then you can see I'm just tapping it onto the cheeks, patting it on. I'm not disturbing the makeup underneath by buffing or rubbing. Just applying a light layer just on the high points of the cheeks, just to give a nice flush of color. This is a really nice neutral beige. It's like a pink beige and peach in one. It goes a little bit warmer on my skin tone. Blushes tend to pull a little bit warm on me. And this shade is the shade number 9. I feel like it's just a good recommendation to recommend to everyone. So I don't know what's happening to these in Canada, but you cannot buy them in Canada any longer. So I don't know if they will go away in the US either. But sadly, I'm so sorry, my Canadians. You can only get them on Nordstrom, but they really up the price. So I don't know if it's worth it. So hopefully they'll come back to Sephora. I don't really know what's going on with the Valentino line in Canada. But if you are in the US or the UK, you can pick these up. And they're so beautiful. Just how they look. Like, this is a blurring blush. This is a blurring blush. It makes your complexion look like it just looks like an Instagram filter is on my face. I love these complexion products, and all of these perform so well together. So this has a slight radiance without it being shimmery on the skin. It has a little bit of a glow, but it just adds a glow in that really, like, it reflects light in a really beautiful way versus it being a shimmer, because again, I don't like shimmery products on my cheeks. Next we have cream highlighter, and my favorite cream highlighter is the Chanel Baume Essentiel in the shade Sculpting. Truly gorgeous Baume highlighter, because this is the only Baume highlighter I've ever found that doesn't disrupt the makeup. I do really like the Victoria Beckham. Some of you guys were like, oh, I can't believe you don't like the Victoria Beckham. I do like it. I just find it has a little bit more detectable shimmer on the skin versus this one, where it's just going to add that textured appearance to your cheeks. It's going to add that hydration, that life back to your cheeks. This is something, if I've just applied a little bit too much powder, or maybe things are looking a little bit too makeup-y, this will bring your complexion back to life. It will just add that youthfulness back to your skin, and it will kind of bring things back down so they don't look too heavy. Typically, I would just like to avoid that at all costs, and I don't usually do that, but just if an emergency happens and that's what happens to my skin and things just look a little bit heavy, I will use this product to kind of bring things back to life, because this truly looks like your skin is healthy versus it being a detectable highlighter. This looks like your skin is glossy. It gives your skin health and life. Truly, I love this Baume highlighter so much. And I have to be honest, this is my favorite highlighter right now. This is the Chanel Jeux de Lumières Multi-Use Eyeshadow and Highlighter Palette. I love this highlighter palette because I love to use these on my eyes and my cheeks. This is a perfect multi-purpose product. And because these are baked gelées, they melt into your skin. They look glossy. They just give your cheeks health. This looks as if you've applied a cream highlighter. That is how subtle they are. Except this shade right here. It's a little bit too deep for me, so I never use that on my cheeks anyways. But on the eyes, it's gorgeous. And I love to use these on the eyes as well because of that beautiful formulation where they just melt. They look glossy. They look really natural. They just sink into your skin. So on your eyes, they just look so sophisticated and beautiful as well, versus it being that chunky shimmer, that chunky glitter. This just shows off your eyes in such a subtle, natural, beautiful way. I can't get enough of this palette. It's so lovely. But I think my favorite highlighter of all time might actually, now I'm saying this is my favorite highlighter of all time. However, this is limited edition. So I wanted to offer an alternative because this obviously won't be available forever. So you can't really reference this video forever, which is the point of these videos. I really, really like this new Dior highlighter. This is the Dior Forever Glue Luminizer in the shade 02 Gold Halo. Funny it's called Gold Halo because I think this is actually the nude shade. The nude shade looked more gold to me. But it's just a beautiful highlighter, and I really like it because it's so subtle. This is another baked gelée highlighter, so it's really going to melt on your complexion. There are no shimmer particles to this highlighter. It's just going to offer that really subtle glow. It's going to look like you've applied a liquid luminizer. I'm going to use this BK Beauty. This is a 202 brush, and I'm going to show the Dior one today just because this is the newest in my collection. I'm just going to apply it on the very high points of the cheekbone. I love this because it just offers health. It just offers that glossy cheek look, and it really melts into your complexion. So it's not going to look like one of those obvious, obnoxious highlighters. This is just going to melt right in. It is truly, truly stunning. And the more you buff this into your skin, the more skin-like and glossy it looks. I want to quickly go back to the Chanel Baume Essentiel because even though I've used powder products, you can actually apply this over top of powders and it doesn't disrupt the makeup underneath. It doesn't remove any of that makeup, which I find a lot with Baume products. Like, I know the Westman Atelier one is really popular, but that removes my makeup underneath, especially if I've done makeup like this. But this, I can apply over a full glam look like this, or I can wear it on those really natural looking days, and it just performs beautifully every time. Love this one. If I had to choose like my number one highlighter out of all the ones I mentioned, I think it might be this one. This is not going to be hard because my number one eyeshadow is definitely the Cle De Peau eyeshadow palettes. If you're looking to invest in an eyeshadow palette, I recommend these ones for sure. This is also my mom's favorite eyeshadow. She has picked up 3 of these palettes. That's how much she loves this formula because this is such a luxurious palette. The formulas in these are truly, there's nothing like it. They are so, so good. This primer shade here, which is actually like a putty texture. It's very similar, like again, to those Westman Atelier iPods. Very unique texture. And that is the primer shade in this palette. So I'm going to start off with this shade. I'm just going to run it all over the eyelid. You can really blend it all over the eye. You don't need to be super precise with this. It's just going to offer a little bit of a sheen and it offers a little bit of brightness as well. Now I have this palette in 3 different colors and I really like the shade Beach Pebbles or I really like Coral Reef. I also picked up the shade 01, so I have to show you guys that as well. But I really like Beach Pebbles because I think it's the most neutral one, so I really like it. I'm going to dip into this matte brown shade with the BK Beauty N13 brush. And I'm just going to apply this to the outer corner of the eye. And then I'm also going to just bring that into the crease, just with that excess product. I want the most pigment on the outer corner of the eye. And then with that remaining product, I'm going to blend it into the crease. I'm also going to go in with this matte brown shade and take it on a BK Beauty 204 brush. And I'm going to run that along the lower lash line to add some color there. I do like to apply a little bit of color to my lower lash line. I just think it is flattering to do so. I'm going to go into this deepest shade right here, and I'm going to add just a little bit to the very outside corner of my eye. Just very, very subtly though, because I want this to be a very soft look. And then I'm also going to take my favorite eyeliner, which is this Victoria Beckham, the Satin Kajal in the shade Cinnamon. This is truly such a good eyeliner. I'm going to take it on a little defining brush, and I'm going to add this as my eyeliner on the top lash line. Just again, very subtly pressing it into the upper lash line. Being a little haphazard here, and it's going to be a bit more of a messy line because I like things really soft. And then I'm going to take a Rephr 02 brush and dip into this shade here. It's this perfect light beige champagne. And I really like Beach Pebbles because it's such a beautiful neutral eyeshadow that you can pair with anything. You could wear it with any cheek color, any color clothing-wise. You could also wear any lip color. It's just so beautifully neutral. So that is my eye look, but I did want to show you my favorite one and done, and that is going to have to be the Chantecaille Mermaid Eye Color in the shade Copper. You actually get a lot of product for the price. I have had this for so long, and it lasts so long, so even though this is a pricey product, it's worth the price for me. And I really like this one and done because it's a little different than some other one and dones that I really enjoy that have a little bit more of that intermittent shimmer. This is a very consistent shimmer, so you're not going to find those glitter flecks or it's not going to be that intermittent shimmer. Like I said, it's a very continuous shimmer, so it gives you that more sheen and it's nothing too over the top where it's glittery in any way. So I'm just going to add a little bit of this copper shade to the eye look. Just layering it over top of that beigey champagne shade. So typically I'd use this just as a one and done with nothing else, but again, just to show you, this pairs actually really beautifully together because the shimmer is very similar to that one in the Cle De Peau palette, where it's just very consistent. It's giving that even distribution of shimmer flecks, and it's just such a pretty shade. The shade is called Copper, but it's actually a very neutral tone. It's like the perfect bronzy gold champagne taupe. It's like all those colors mixed in one. It's not actually copper, but it's truly beautiful. I love this combo on my lashes, the Dior 4D lash primer and the Chantecaille Faux Seal Longest Lash Mascara. Truly best mascara. It gives you length, volume, separation. It never clumps. It removes easily at the end of the night. It has peptides in it. Very, very pricey, but to me, I love the results I get. I also use the Hourglass Voyer waterproof gel eyeliner in the top waterline just to kind of close off that gap. Finally, for the lips, we have the Chantecaille Lip Chic in the shade Patience. This is a beautiful, balmy formula. It feels more like a lip balm, so it's going to be one of those sheer lipsticks that are just going to give you a hint of color. It's not going to be anything overwhelming. It's not going to be anything high pigment. This is basically just a very neutral nude lip gloss, lip balm, lipstick hybrid, but I really love this because it allows your lips to feel more comfortable after it's worn off. It's really, really beautiful. And I did have to mention the YSL Candy Glaze in the shade 02. I love this because this is a clear lip balm, but it's so much more than just a clear lip balm. This is a special product. This has a really nice viscosity to it. It also is quite, because of that viscosity, it's very thick. And that thickness leaves it so that you get this like this coat of hydration to your lips where it's just so emollient and it feels so hydrating on your lips because of that thicker texture. It just hugs the lips and it provides this coat of hydration over top of your lips. So it adds this deep hydration that will continually hydrate over hours, like a period of hours, versus it just fading away super quickly when it's that thinner texture. It kind of just evaporates into your lips. This offers a hydration that lasts quite a long time, considering it is more of a balmy formula. But this lip balm is just the best. I truly can't say enough good things about this. I have bought in 3 of these. This is my 3rd, and I will continue to buy it. I also just wanted to pop in because I did have a viewer who asked for a comparison between the NARS Laguna Quad and the Cle De Peau Beach Pebbles. So quickly, I just gave some swatches here. So there we have the Beach Pebbles. Honestly, these Cle De Peau palettes don't swatch the best because they are just like a sheer pigmentation. They're very, very velvety smooth, very buttery, where the NARS Laguna Quad is going to offer more pigmentation. They're different, honestly. The Cle De Peau leans more neutral, where the NARS Laguna is more warmer tone. Even the matte shades in this, like the NARS is definitely warmer toned. It's more of a caramel, where the Cle De Peau is just softer. Even the shimmers are more lightly pigmented. The shimmers are softer. So I think you could have both in your collection. I don't think that they are similar enough that you only need one. But that is it for my absolute best luxury makeup of all time. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was really fun to film. Please let me know your top 3 to 5 favorite luxury beauty products. I always love to hear from you. Let me know if you want me to try out some new products. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you like it, and I'll see you in my next video.